On August 17, 1998, Russia defaulted on $40 billion in domestic debt, sending shockwaves through global markets. How did a handful of policy choices push the world's largest nuclear power to the brink of financial collapse? In December 1994, President Boris Yeltsin launched a disastrous war in Chechnya. The conflict drained billions from the federal budget. Estimates range up to $5.5 billion, at a time when Russia could least afford it. Inflation spiked, and the ruble weakened. This was the first crack in the foundation, committing scarce resources to a quagmire instead of reforms. By 1995, desperate to tame inflation, Russia pegged the ruble to the dollar within a narrow band. This stabilized prices but made exports uncompetitive and encouraged massive short-term foreign borrowing. Banks and firms took on dollar-denominated debt, betting the peg would hold. The central bank burned through reserves defending the rate, setting a trap that would spring years later. To finance deficits, Russia issued GKO bonds, short-term ruble debt with yields as high as 200%. Foreign investors piled in, lured by the returns and the perceived safety of the peg. By 1997, foreigners held $20 billion in GKOs, and the government was rolling over debt weekly. The pyramid was growing, and any loss of confidence could trigger a collapse. In late 1997, the Asian financial crisis spooked investors, who fled emerging markets. Then oil prices, Russia's main export, plummeted to $10 a barrel. Tax revenues cratered, and the current account swung into deficit. The central bank raised interest rates to 150% to defend the ruble, but capital flight accelerated. On August 17, 1998, with reserves down to $12 billion in debt payments due, Prime Minister Sergei Kiriyenko announced a stunning triple blow: default on domestic debt, a 90-day moratorium on foreign liabilities, and a de facto devaluation. The ruble collapsed from 6 to 21 per dollar within weeks. Banks froze, savings were wiped out, and inflation hit 84% by year-end. The crisis pulverized Russia's middle class and toppled the government. Yet, oddly, it forced reforms. The weak ruble spurred domestic production, and rising oil prices soon fueled a recovery. But the human cost was immense. Poverty doubled to 40%, and trust in institutions evaporated. The lesson? Pegging a currency while running unsustainable debt is a recipe for disaster, a warning echoed in later crises from Argentina to Turkey. What would you have done? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe to Noir and uncover the stories money try to hide.